Janet Gervers is the creative director and founder of JAG Media, which started in 2000 and is located in Santa Monica, California. Janet is one of the original Silicon Valley website designers with deep experience serving clients in all facets of digital media and specializing in branding and website design. She uses her talents for empowering her clients' businesses to flourish. And you can visit her website at jagmedia.net. Janet, thank you so much for joining us today. We're going to be talking about branding as authors on our websites. And I suppose in addition to the websites, we continue through the entire thing with social media, etc.
Yeah, thanks, Paula, for having me. Hi, everybody. I'm Janet Gervers from JAG Media. Today, we're going to unlock the keys to your website success because a website is really the key to your brand. And we'll talk about both things, how the website and brands are intertwined, and bring in a little bit about social media. So what we're going to do here today is I'm going to turn on the screen sharing in a moment, and it's about a 10-minute presentation. And then after that, I will open it up for questions and answers. So for those of you that are on Facebook, Paula will be able to let me know what your questions and or comments are today. So thanks again for being here. And let's get started. I'm going to go ahead and share the screen with my presentation here. Hi, everybody. Janet Gervers here from JAG Media. We're going to talk about unlocking the keys to your website success today. So, as Paula mentioned, I've been in the website design field for the past 25 years. That's pretty much since the start of it. And I have seen a lot of changes. Wow, have I seen a lot of changes. However, there are some things in, wow, at least the past 10, 15 years that are evergreen and really relevant, regardless of whether you are an author, coach, speaker, or in another business. And that's something that we're going to talk about today. So let's get right into it here. This is called Unlock the Keys to Your Website Success. And that's my website there if you want to check it out, jagmedia.net at another time. So here we go. We're starting with key one. Let's get into the meat of it. Credibility. That is the hugest thing that your website can do for you. And your website is your 24/7 online global presence. So people can see you at any time. And this is really your biggest marketing piece of your brand. And while your whole brand is important, this is the number one piece of your brand that is going to help you to market yourself. And something else that's very important is that your website is real estate that you own. I can't stress that enough. So oftentimes people do think that, Facebook or some other social media platform can be their go-to for everything. Let me tell you, no, that's not true. You know why? Because Facebook can take that away from you at any moment they want to for whatever reason. It's the same with any other social media platform that's out there. So it's really important that you have your online global presence that is 24/7, that somebody isn't going to decide to randomly decide to get rid of your page because they didn't like something that you said. And let's just go back to the credibility part for a minute. Again, it's really that is really the key. Key number one is really important. Sometimes people say, when they're in services business, oh, I'm not making any money from my website. And it is a real challenge with people who are in services businesses. And I know because I'm in a services business as well. It's a little bit different if you're selling, shoes or something like that, and when people are buying. However, your website is the first thing that people are generally going to take a look at after they meet you, whether it's in person, they're doing a presentation like I am today, or you're in an online networking event, any of those things, or even online, if you have a LinkedIn friend, they're going to take a look at your website to just kind of check you out, see if you're legitimate, see what kind of services that you offer, because there's a lot more content that you can have on your website than you can on your social media profile. And it's a way for people to go in and see what you're doing without looking at tons of posts and being distracted as well. So that's where they come to find out more about you. And your audience do expect to see your website. That is really important. So if you don't have a website yet, you got to know that your audience is expecting to see a website. And that's whether you're a writer, coach, author, speaker. And I understand if you're just starting out a business, you may not have the budget, you may be a little bit unsure of what to do, or you're developing your programs. What I will say to this is once you have a budget, once you have your programs, to have a website. You can start out with there are lots of free website builders that are out there. That's one way to start. And that's not the thing that I do. I create customized websites, and it's typically for women that are a little bit more established in their businesses. However, I do also work with women that are just starting. It just depends on your situation. Okay. So the next thing is that your professional and polished website is going to boost your image. So design can be very relative, but we all know when we've gone to a website before that looked really horrible and you were like, is this for real? Is this really what this person wants to present to the world? So it is important to look professional and polished. It doesn't mean you have to look glitzy or anything like that, but looking professional is really important and polished. So there's that, plus also maintaining control of your brand and your messaging. So your brand is all of your visuals combined. So it could be anything from, say, a presentation like I'm showing here, your logo, your palette colors, what does your email newsletter look like? And we'll get a little bit more into that. You want to make sure that your brand is uh, consistent across the board, and maintaining control of it is your website, again, is number one for your messaging. So when you look at somebody's website, it should have a similar look, whether you're on their Facebook page, LinkedIn profile, etc. And you also want to make sure that when you do have your website, that you have your logins to your website, all of those things, your website, your web hosting, your domain name. Make sure that you have those. You keep files of those. Don't just rely on whoever created your website to have that information. It's really important that you have it. I've been doing this for a long time, and I've worked with, I know how many people who did not have their login, and it made it really difficult to get the project started with them. So please make sure that you keep control of the logins of all of your accounts. Okay, so let's go to key number 2. That's consistency, and that really ties into your whole brand here. And you want to match up your visuals across the board, whether it is a Facebook banner, or maybe it's your business card. People are still doing print. So regardless of whether it's print, video, uh, social media graphics that you're sharing, and your website, they need to look like they are related. So if you think for a moment about brands, say like Apple or Target, you know what their brand looks like, whether it's a store, their products, the billboards that you see, any kind of advertisement, you know what Apple looks like. You know what Target looks like. So use those as kind of a guiding light for matching your visuals across the board. And I don't mean copying what they're doing, but just look at it and you can see that whole kind of sphere where their brand is consistent. So the second thing is layout. Now, we're just talking about the website for a moment. So when you have your website, you want your pages When you go from, say, your home page to your contact, to your about, to your services, you want those to look like they all came from the same place as well. So it shouldn't be different color palettes or a totally different kind of look on the page. So make sure that they are consistent. You have a color palette. I recommend 2 to 3 colors maximum. So you might have one color that's easier to read. So for example, you'll see in my presentation, as well as my Zoom screen above me, you see a dark purple. That's going to be easier to read. And I have gold as an accent color. It tends to be more for background. So keep that in mind, 2 to 3 colors, as well as fonts, 2 to 3 maximum. You don't want to have a million fonts on your page. Some people think that it's being creative, and really what it is, it's a bunch of clutter, and it can make your page hard to read. So again, 2 to 3 maximum of your fonts. And this is all part of what happens during brand development. So when I'm working with people, oftentimes I will develop their entire brand. So we will choose fonts that work appropriately, that you can see easily on a website or on a business card, and that also just reflect your authentic brand. So let's get on to key number 3 is creativity. Now that's the fun one. People do but judge a book by its cover, whether it's a romance book or any other kind of book. They're going to look at the cover of a book. They're going to look at your website and decide by the visuals, do I want to look at this any further? Does it speak to me? Is it interesting to me? So keep that in mind. And those attractive visuals gain more attention from people, right? You also want to make your visuals inviting to your audience. So if your audience is primarily women and perhaps they're in a certain age group, let's just say 40 and up, that's what my typical audience is. I want it to be attractive to them and speak to them. So you will see some images of women in that age group, give or take, that are on my website. And you also want your website to look unique and make you stand out from the crowd, because face it, there is a sea of other writers that are out there in the same genre as you, and you want to make sure that you stand out and they know who you are, because when you stand out, people remember you, they gain that brand awareness, which leads to building trust and confidence in your brand and eventually buying from you. Okay, so back to those visuals. Your brain remembers visuals more than text or any other element. In fact, studies have been done that your brain processes images 60,000 times faster than anything else, whether it's, text or anything else. The brain remembers the visuals. So it is really important to have some great visuals on your website and elsewhere in your brand. That includes social media, by the way. Okay, so let's get to key 4. Key number 4, that's content. Content is the combination of text and visuals can be anything from, a photo, a graphic, a video. So all of those things are considered as visuals. Now, your text is your written content. It reinforces your message to your audience and works hand in hand with your visuals. And quality text improves your organic SEO. So let me take a minute and explain what SEO, just to catch everybody up, as well as organic SEO. So SEO stands for search engine optimization. It's essentially how the search engines, namely Google, will help people to find your website. Now, there's a lot of factors with it, and it is a very complex topic. What I'm doing is I'm breaking it down into some really key things for you here. And what organic SEO is, it's essentially SEO where you are not paying for an advertisement. So, Google has advertisements that you can pay for, and it can cost a lot of money. So let's do what we can first to improve your organic SEO. So quality text, meaning text that is relevant to what you were doing and to what people might search for online. And a great way to do that is with a blog. And when I talk about blogging, it's on a consistent basis. Once a year is not really in the ballpark there. What's in the ballpark is starting out on a monthly basis, and then you might consider twice a month and then weekly. And I know that it's hard. I blog too, and it can be a challenge to do that. But that is one of the biggest things that can improve your SEO ranking, and that makes it easier for people to find your website. Just because your friend knows you or your name, that's not enough in this day and age. You want a lot of people to find you, people that don't know you, people that may not know what your domain name is. A domain name is jagmedia.net. That's my domain name. So I want to make sure that when people are searching for Jag Media, that they see me right up there in that, top 10, because there are other companies that have that name. It's a great name. What can I say? My initials. Okay, so let's get on to the next thing. Alt tags. Those also improve your organic SEO. Alt means alternate. Initially, these were developed to describe your photos, images, and graphics. And you can still use it in that way, but be a little bit more strategic because this is something that the search engines pick up. So say you're a speaker and you have your headshot on your website. It might say something to the effect of, okay, like for me, Janet Gervers from Jag Media, website and branding design, Santa Monica. So it is really, I'm there in the picture, but it also gives more details, and that's something that the search engines can pick up. So that helps you to be more competitive. And I recommend doing this on all of your photos that are in your website, photos, graphics, etc. And here's the biggie: update your website monthly to improve your organic SEO and also to engage and inspire your audience. Oftentimes people think that once their website is designed, it's one and done. Okay, it was like that back in 1995, 96, but we are in 2024. So it really is necessary. Think of your website as kind of this organic being, or maybe it's like a garden. It needs to be tended and cared for. You can't just let it sit out there and not do anything to it. It's really not going to go in your favor. You need to work that garden. You need to water it. You need to, make sure there's some sunshine on it, put a little fertilizer on it. So what I mentioned, blogging is a big thing that you can do to update your website. You can also, maybe you have some new videos. You can add some videos on there. Did your address change? Let people know about that. I mean, it can be little things like that as well. So that's key number 4, content. And we are going to move on to key number 5, call to action, also known as a CTA. What you're doing is you're inviting your audience to connect with you and to engage. So some examples that you can use in your website are buttons, links, and forms. So a button can be as simple as schedule a call with me. And that's a really powerful one as well. So people can schedule a call or a Zoom with you and find out more than what is just on your website. Some social media platforms, you can have a button that's a find out more. It can be a buy button. So those are things that you can actively use together to market your brand. Email list subscribe. If you're using an email platform, something say like MailChimp or Constant Contact or something else, you can have a pop-up screen where somebody can subscribe to your email list. Now, it doesn't have to be a pop-up screen, and that's really one of the more popular options that people use. So the main thing is having that on your website, and you might have something like a juicy download that's free, so that while people are getting that freebie, they can subscribe to your newsletter where you are also communicating to people on a consistent basis about what your services are and your brand. And it's another way to get your brand image out there. All right. And this is increasing your audience. It's building your audience, list building. That's in regard to your email, social media links and feeds. You might consider social media links that are relevant on your website. You can also have a feed. What a feed is, it might show, say, your most recent 3 posts or whatever you choose. So it can be whether it's Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, etc. You can have a feed in there that gives people, it's kind of like a easy way to update, give people some updates on what you're doing, but not the only way to do it. So that is the fifth key, is call to action to CTA. And it's really important to give people something they can click on and take action. All right, I have some gifts for you. These are free gifts, everybody. And the first one is a call to action. You can schedule your complimentary 30-minute website strategy, which can also include your brand strategy. You can click on that link there, or we can copy and paste that into the Zoom there. I'll do that in a moment. And the second one is you can join my private Facebook branding group. We talk about websites and brands. There are a lot of tips in there for you, and I will answer your questions. So I love answering your questions. So please join the group and ask away, and I'm happy to answer your questions. I'm going to drop that in the chat there. So the first one is my calendar link where you can schedule a Zoom with me and we can chat one-on-one and I can answer your questions related to design and branding. The second one that's in there is joining my private Facebook branding group. It is yours for the asking there. So just a little bit about me. And as Paula mentioned, I'm the creative director and founder of Jag Media, which started 24 years ago. I can't believe it. Seems like it's yesterday sometimes. And yes, I'm one of the original Silicon Valley website designers. I started in San Francisco. However, I've been in Southern California for 20 of those years. And I love empowering my clients so that their businesses can flourish. You can also connect with me. You can take a look at my website as well as send me a direct email to get in touch that way. Though really the best way is to use my Calendly link that's there. Okay, so that's my presentation. Let's open it up to your questions and comments.
Oh my goodness, Janet, you gave so much information. It's a hard thing to even remember. And I didn't have any paper to write anything down with because I'm not at my usual place. I'm visiting relatives. But um, a, a few questions came in, and a few um, questions I had. But before we get to
Sure.
me, let's find out if the people who are here live on Zoom, Rebecca or Medusa, if either of you have questions that you would like to ask, please unmute yourself and ask them. And if you have no questions, then I will ask a few questions. Let's see, we've got some things. Okay, you put all your contact in the chat, which is great. Okay. Rebecca, do you have any questions? Medusa, any questions? Since I'm not getting the response. Oh, Rebecca, there you are. Okay.
Hi. No questions at this time, but I appreciate the presentation. A lot of information. Thank you.
Okay.
You're welcome,
Well,
Rebecca.
and do you mind terribly, Janet, going back to your key number one? We'll kind of go through
Sure.
questions that we had here. Credibility. Okay. So I understand what you're getting at here with credibility. I think that is getting more and more prevalent, that people understand that social media is not the end all for them. One question I had, actually, I didn't have a question about credibility. Let's go to key number two.
Okay. Consistency.
Okay, so now you're talking about consistency on your website across your social media, and I get that. A question that I have is, what if we're talking about authors here, and a lot of authors
Right.
have more than just their novels. Some are coaches, some are content creators, course creators. Myself, I do summits. So, can you talk to us a little bit about how we can be consistent when we have like two avenues that we're going down?
Sure. That's a great question, Paula. And typically I am working with women who are authors, coaches, and speakers. So they have all of those, and or they might have a mix of a couple of those. And the thing is, think about your brand as kind of the overarching sort of umbrella where everything is contained under the umbrella. So the brand kind of supersedes everything in a way. So if you think about, you're an author, you're a coach and a speaker, that you want people to know what your brand is all about, what it's going to look like, regardless of which avenue people are investing their time and money with you. So, like I mentioned with this presentation, if you take a look at my website later, you will see that it's got the same, purple with gold and even the same background on it. So, and for me, I do branding as one avenue, websites is another. I also have events. I do monthly events, which are typically the third Wednesday of the month, which is today and later in the afternoon, and you are all invited to join. So whether it's an event or anything else that I'm doing, you will know what Jag Media's look is. So it's the look and feel. It's what you'll even see me, I'm wearing purple and I have a purple background. So all of these, this is everything combined, and just think of it as the overarching umbrella that supersedes everything else.
Okay, I'm going to continue on here then. Um, and I'm going to make this personal to me because you have absolutely fascinated me. So I
Thank you.
have two Facebook events every month. One is uh, Spotlight on Romance, and with that, I have a background of a spotlight. And then this one here, which is Marketing Romance, you can see my background. And that's how I advertise that. Obviously, those look totally different. My summit, I have, the hearts with the feather pen in it. My own Steamy Romance by Paula Judith is a feathered heart. So obviously, there's no consistency here. And then when you go to my website, because I write historical, you see these historical Regency women. So I can see that I've got some problems already. But how I still don't understand how I can, and this would apply to anybody else who has kind of a varied organization the way I do. How do you bring organization to all of that and yet still have them have the individual portions um, more targeted to what they are about because they are different from other things?
Yeah, it's a challenge, and there are solutions to it for sure. Giving more of a simplistic answer, I'm going to ask you a couple questions first. So, do you have a logo, Paula, that you use for your company overall?
For my author business as a historical writer, yes, I do. That's uh, the Steamy Romance by Paula Judith, which is a heart. In
I've
fact,
seen the heart. Yeah.
oh, okay. So that's that, which is completely different from the hearts that I use for my summits, which is Writing Romance Mastery. So, these all have different names too.
What I see is this. You're using the heart theme
Mm-hmm.
for your business, and it sounds like, I know I've seen one of them. It's very like colorful with kind of bright, pretty warm colors.
Yeah.
That might be something to take a look at. You're using the heart as, your main logo for your brand. You could even do something if you want to, like with your Zoom background. Maybe you have a border that goes around it that has some of those colors that are in the heart. It could even be just one color. Pick one color that you like and use that as, kind of a border around your Zoom background. And even when you are speaking, and while I don't know enough about your speaker summits at this point, why can't you use it for that?
Okay.
Think about that. And sometimes people have different versions of their logo. Even I do. I have, the logo that you see in my Zoom screen as well as in the presentation here. While that's the same, I also have a version where it's in a square. It's like got a purple background and the letters are all gold. So it's a slightly different version. And sometimes you'll see different versions of logos, like, even like a company like IBM, big corporate company, has different versions of their logos over the years. And I invite you and anyone else here, if you want me to, consult for a half an hour, I'm happy to talk with you more about it, because it is an in-depth and a very good question. There are
Okay.
ways for it to be done. I mean, the best way is when you're starting, you're starting your business. We already have an established business, so it would be kind of a different course of action for that.
Okay. Why don't we go ahead to key number 3 and we'll see what questions we have there.
Okay. Key 3, creativity.
Um, I'm looking at Facebook, so it's a little bit
Okay.
delayed. Let me pop over. Oh, there we go. Now it's coming up. Okay. Oh yeah. There were some questions about this, and I think that kind of goes along with some of those questions I was just asking. So, you know, I got from this in the last key that when a person's building out their website, to have a consistent look from one page to another on their website, and then you want to have that consistency through your social media. So the question is, should all of those backgrounds be the same from page to page to page? And how do you get visuals on there that don't break up that consistency? Typically, I think what this person means is that, if you're putting videos on there or something, you might have, do you want to put like a lead in that is the same on all of those videos? That might be one solution for this person. Or what would you advise on that?
So if you have, let's just say we start with the overall website page. Your background may just be white, which is actually the easiest color to read on, as long as you have, like in this presentation, it's a darker color. It's a dark purple. It can be, doesn't have to be purple, though for me it does. At any rate, so start with your page. Just what is your overall background color? Let's just say it's white, but you might have different sections of content within your website. I do on mine. So my top graphic on my website uses this gold background that you're seeing, but it's full force. I have it kind of faded back there in the presentation to make it easier to read. Say you have the section like you mentioned for your videos. You might have a different background color for the videos so that they pop out a little bit more, and also to differentiate, okay, this section is videos, but you want to make sure that these are the colors that you're using for your brand. And it can be a photo background, for instance, like the one that I'm using here. Let me just scroll back up to the first page here. Hang on a second. I have too many screens. Okay, so this is my gold background that is, we'll just say it's full force gold. It's the cover for this. It's to get attention. You'll see a graphic similar to this on my website, the first thing that you see. But now, as we come here into the text part, you'll see that it is considerably faded back so that it's easier to read. So that's what the purpose of that is. And backgrounds can They can be a tricky design element. So the thing is to use, if you're using a background, you might pick one or two at the most to be consistent with. So mine is the gold one, and the one that you see behind my Zoom screen, that's the purple with the kind of, I don't know, spotlight circles back there. So I use those in various places on my website to differentiate the content there.
Okay, that
Thanks
makes a
for
lot of
asking.
sense. Yeah. So another question is on different pages of a person's website, should they put all of their like still photos on one page, their videos on another page, or mix them up some?
I would say mix them up some. Every page of your website should have at least one photo. That's what I will tell you. Even if it's a page, oftentimes people do a media page and it might have all of their videos, podcasts, etc., that you're in. You want to start out your page with nice, attractive image that loads quickly. Always keep that in mind. And you may have all your videos on that page, but you can also take the approach. And again, I encourage you to take a look at my website. What I have on my homepage is I have an area with 3 videos, which is sectioned off. There are 3 videos that they're questions that people ask me a lot. So you can, and you could also have, say you have 20 more videos you want to share with people, you can have a button that says, see all videos, see more videos.
Okay, let's scroll down to key number 4, and we'll see what questions we have
Content.
that had to do with that. Um, okay, I have a question in here of SEO. So you post your blog or your article or something like that, and I don't know if everybody's website does this. This says that there's a place to put in SEO. Like, what should a person be putting in as their SEO? That
Okay,
is so.
I think what they are asking are what are your meta tags? Your meta tags are in the code. There's like title tags, and that's what you see typically when you're in a browser and you might just mouse over the tab that's at the top. That's the title tag. Everybody's heard of keywords. So this all revolves around keywords, and in one form, it's more of a sentence. In another form, it is the keyword. So it might be like website design slash branding or something like that. So it depends on the website platform that you are using. So in this day and age, most platforms do have a way, and this is going to be on your admin side of the website, where you can put in your meta tags. And usually there will be, depending on what you're using, some kind of an SEO panel where you can input those tags.
Okay. Okay, and then the call to action. Okay, for the people who are just novel authors, they don't have the coaching, they don't have the speaking engagements or whatever. So most of them, I would think, would have a page with their books on there or something of that nature. So, and a lot of people don't sell their books off of their websites, or they have just links to like Amazon or Barnes and Noble, something like that. And regardless if they sell them off their website or have a button. Um, now, uh, I'm not sure exactly how to ask this question. I think that I might have answered my own question. It has to do with, you know, this call to action. If they're selling only their novels and nothing else, um, would they have like the links, the buttons and the links to where to get them, or is selling them off their websites? Is that what is? I guess that would be the only call to action an author that doesn't do anything else would have.
Well, it wouldn't be the only call to action, but it would definitely be a call to action to have in there. So that's definitely something that you want to do as an author. But you might also have something where there is a link where somebody can schedule a call or a Zoom with you. Somebody, as it your client maybe is a publisher. They want to get in touch with you. Who would typically be for a novel these days? Polly, you know better than I. Who would be a client?
Well, I think most authors, whether they're actively doing it or not, they should be doing a reader list build so that they can stay in touch with their readers. And I was personally absolutely amazed when I realized that as an author, I am now a celebrity. People are interested in my personal life. It's like really, I feel I have a very boring personal life, but that's beside the point. So I think in that respect, in addition to selling our books, whether an author is doing it or not, they should be list building. And I would think
that is a
the reader list would be best.
Great point, Paula. Anybody in any business, no matter what it is, needs to be building their list. There really isn't anyone that is exempt from that. So, yeah, definitely. Is there something free that you can give to people? A downloadable PDF. Maybe it's a preview of a forthcoming book, if that's something that you can do that's, contractually. Maybe it's an excerpt from a previous book that you've written or something else. So that really helps people to decide to subscribe. It's not 100% that you have to, but it just really helps people. And when you do send emails, if you don't want to talk about your personal life, that's okay. What's your most recent book that you've launched? Talk about that and make sure there's a link in there for people to buy it. What are you working on right now? Maybe you can share a little bit about the kinds of projects and what you're writing right now at the moment. What about past books that you've written? Oh yeah. You may not have given such and such book a read. So, this is a little bit about it. Maybe you give people a little preview or, what's something that's, behind the story of that book. Why did you write it? Some more personalized content. You can do that on your website as well. Give some more, personal stories as to why you decided to write that particular book.
All right, that's great. I know that, and I know that I have not recently, and although I should, people are also our readers are also interested in other things that we read. And I know in the past, asking my readers, what are you reading currently? And, would you recommend it to somebody else is a nice thing to put into a newsletter. Share the enjoyment, that kind of thing. So
right, share the love, and you can also repurpose that. You can do it in your email newsletter. You can do it in a social media post as well.
okay. Well, let's talk about that a little bit on social media posts. I presume that goes with the consistency and everything. So we have two audiences here. We have the audience that is only writing novels, and we have the audience that does other things too. So, and sometimes the focus for different social media will be, for one thing or the other, but not necessarily both. So, should we be keeping those things separate in our minds as we're going out there, or is there a way to kind of combine that? I have no idea.
When you're saying keeping things separate, I'm not quite sure what you
Well,
mean.
I'm not a coach, but take, for instance, an author who is a coach to other authors. So they have their books that they are writing, they're targeting readers to, buy their books, but they're also targeting authors so that they can build their coaching business. How much overlap should there be, if any, or how do you stay consistent with what you're saying when you've got two completely diverse audiences?
Yeah, well, when I'm talking consistency, it's more in your overall the look of your brand, and oftentimes people who are in multiple areas of expertise, they will have one page for that. It might be one Facebook page. You might have a Facebook group. I mean, you could have separate Facebook groups if you want for each thing, but it might drive you crazy unless maybe you have a staff or a VA who can do all that for you. My approach is keep it simple. So I have, for my business, I have one page, and my clients that are coach, author, speakers, they will have one Facebook group page. On LinkedIn, everybody has their own. It would be considered like your Facebook personal page. So that's the place where you can share about everything that you do. The thing is to keep in mind, you have a banner up there, regardless of platform. There is a banner up there at the top, and you need to have a banner that is consistent, whether the person is going to your LinkedIn, your Facebook, or other social media platforms. So keep that all consistent. That's what I'm talking about in terms of the look. And you may have, a different messaging for each kind of your business. It's all under the same roof. So it's okay to speak differently about things, but ultimately it's all going to be in your voice. So it will sound familiar to people.
Okay. Okay. Um, Medusa had to leave. She's been attending from work, and she probably actually had to go back to work. So we don't have any questions from her. She said her microphone wasn't working also. I don't know if anybody else can see the chat. I could see the chat though.
I can see
So,
it too.
oh,
Yes.
okay. All right. So let me take another quick look over here at Facebook. We have a heart down here. You great information. Okay, so no new questions. So, and I encourage anyone, whether they're live on this or catching it later, when I send out reminders, to take advantage of your generous offer to call and do a consultation. And I know I myself am going to be joining your Facebook group, so I hope everybody else does too. Janet, thank you very much.
You're
And
welcome, Paula.
I'm